Game Jam. It's something like a game development marathon. For each game jam there's a given time limit in which developers need to create a game. But that's not all. Most game jams have a theme. Maybe you have to make a fighting game. Maybe it has to be in a futuristic setting. Or there is some other limitation or rule you have to follow. And these rules are often shown at the start of the jam, so nobody can start working on their project beforehand. In this video I will show you how I participated in a game jam and ended up making a game with Godot game engine, where you drunk drive, gamble and run over cyclists. Before making a game, you need an idea first. At the start I wanted to make a pseudo 3D game from the driver's point of view, where you would control the car purely by the position of your mouse. But the thing is that the theme for the game jam I was part of was that I could only use one button for the gameplay, and I also only had a week to finish the project. The idea I had only used one input, but it wasn't a button, so I had to come up with a different idea. Gambling. We all know about it, everybody has their opinion on it, but what nobody can overrule is the fact that house always wins. Because when you spin a modern roulette, the chances are set against you. But the thing with roulettes is that they only use one input. So if I'm able to change the chances so that it helps the player to a point where it is not too easy, and also use it instead of the steering wheel, ladies and gentlemen, we have a one input vehicle. I think this sprite that I drew on the first day looks amazing, since I didn't have to change it that much until later on. But before I explain how I made the roulette, there's a bigger challenge for me to tackle, that being the pseudo 3D background. In old games, when rendering a 3D scene wasn't exactly possible, they made 2D scenes in a way that it would give off the illusion of 3D. Most known example would be something like Doom, and the most close to what I'm aiming for example would be something like Outrun. But how do you achieve this look? Well, you can either draw the road already curved like this, but then you also have to draw the different variants for when you're changing lanes, which I'm too lazy to do, or you can draw the road flat like this and then just stretch the picture so it looks just like how you want it. Right now, it's just a texture with a shader code that stretches the top to be thinner and the bottom to be wider. I achieved the look of being in a different lane by changing the part of the original texture that should be in the center before it gets stretched. That's all I did for day 1. On the second day, I had to figure out the most logically taxing part of this project. It's easy to draw and calculate cars driving by you if you never leave your lane, but making it look like a car is further or closer to you, depending on which lane you are on, making it look like the car didn't change lanes when the player does, isn't so easy. At least it wasn't for me when I was thinking of it. But this is the idea I had, and an idea that I realized. So, you have the road with 3 lanes, and let's say that I have 3 theoretical lines in each lane, of which I know the position of each end. These theoretical lines will act somewhat like rails for the upcoming cars. The cars will not have some insane code, it will just gradually change its Y position and then count out what its X should be by checking for the position of the line. So then if I draw the 3 lines for each lane position and make a function that smoothly switches the line position between these 3 scenarios, I will have a perfect way to move the car smoothly. But how can I make the function smooth? Well, as I said in day 1, I change the perspective by changing the center of the texture. And I do that by changing a single variable. So I will use that single variable as the input for the function. So if the variable is set to this, which means it should be left, the background will look like this and the line should be here. If it's set for the center, it is here, and for the right, it is here. In the end, I made 6 quadratic functions corresponding to each point of the 3 lines that smoothly changes its position depending on the variable used to center the background texture. After that, I made the NPC car that works the way I said it would work, plus I made it scale the closer it got to you, so that I could test this new system, and holy shit, it actually works. On this day I mainly worked on the look of the background, because it looks like shit. I added these lines that change to look like you are moving, but since the texture only changes its width and not its height, it looks bad. Since in real life, the further a line would be, the thinner it would be. Also, I didn't mention this yet, but I want the game to have a red vibe, because I want to call the game Devil's Ride, since you're doing all the things you shouldn't, so you might as well be riding with the devil. So I want it to look like you're approaching hell. Highway to hell. So I changed the road background to more fit the theme, and I also drew the lines in a way that they do get thinner the further they are or should be. I also drew the actual background, aka the horizon. I made certain parts of the image move with the variable used for the lines and also added clouds, which is basically this image strip that loops forever to the left, since if you didn't notice already, nothing in this game is done right. After I was finished, I could acknowledge that it was better than before, but it just looked so flat. Which is why I added a bunch of static textures. I also made the car crash into you if it gets too close and added health and score. After that I almost called it quits that day, but figured I had more in me, so I worked on the roulette. The idea is that you can get 4 different outputs. Turn left, turn right, pretty self-explanatory, beer, which you drink and become invincible for a few seconds, and a jackpot, for which you will get a higher score. I didn't write the code for the spin this day, but I made the animation for it. The lever animation is made by moving the red thingy down, while scaling the lever itself to be smaller, and the spin itself is done like this. I have 3 sprites into which I put different textures depending on what you roll. At the start, I scale them down, which shows these animated sprites that constantly change images of the sprite sheet. And then, I gradually scale the old sprite from the top, now with different textures. Boom! Now we are reaching the finish line, my friends, because I wrote the code for the roulette. I also worked on the mechanic for drinking beer. I took a screenshot from my summer car, pixelated it to a lower resolution and drew over it to get this sprite. So now when you get a beer, you get an animation for it and a bar that shows you how much time you have left. At this point, the game was playable, but I felt like it was ended too quickly. Which means I have to add a mechanic that gives you health. At first, I made it so that if you hit a car whilst drunk, you get HP, but it was too overpowered. So I made it chance-based, but the game still didn't have enough flavor. So I added cyclists. If you run over a car, it takes your life, but if you run over a cyclist, you take his life. Perfect logic for me. After gameplay was done, I had to work on some UI, so I made the title screen that looks like the radio. Holy shit, I didn't mention that the car has radio. Yeah, so I will be adding music to it later on this day, a tutorial, a pause screen and a dead screen that shows you your stats. Towards the end of this day I added as many audio effects as possible, so that the game wouldn't be boring. After which, my game was officially done. I was too tired to upload the game to itch.io on day 4, but I did so on day 5. So if you have a computer, you can play my game right now by clicking the link in the description or by searching up Devil's Ride on itch.io. Before you go, I would like to say that all music in the game is free for commercial use stuff that I found on Pixabay. Anyways, for those who didn't leave, this is Devil's Ride. Hello, this is Editor Me. Thank you for watching to the end of my video. From this point of the video, the quality of audio and both edits will go down. If it feels like I'm talking a lot slower, it's because I don't have a script for this and I'm recording this after editing. By the way, please don't judge the shitty back roll. I'm pretty new to TSRF. In my last video I mentioned that I would be working on my main project, but I kind of did not have time for it, but I'm not going to drop some like sad story about how I got my soul crushed. It's half stuff that I couldn't change and half is like my laziness. Like, yeah, it's kind of weird that the video has taken me more time than to actually make the fucking game the video is about. My bad. But right now my plan has changed a little bit. I plan on actually remaking a lot more of the main game before I put it on itch.io for you guys to try. Because I feel like that for the last like 2 months, whenever I changed something, it was just like I put more shit on the shit pile that is the game as it is now. Because since I've been working on it for like half a fucking year, even more, like I should really be finished soon, I always just threw shit into the game instead of thinking about how to implement it without like it having problems or some other shit. So God knows when the next upload is going to be, but it will come, okay? It's not going to be like I will disappear for 3 months again. Anyways, I also made this Discord, but it's pretty shit because the last time I was a moderator on the Discord was when there was a pandemic. If somebody actually joins, I will probably just post stuff about my development or just the app, I don't know. I also plan on changing my editing style with my next video because like the type of dopamine based editing I have been doing till now is really fucking tiring. By the way, I would also like to know, if somebody is still watching, if you guys prefer my voice in this like relaxed state, or like tired state, than the like hyper way I speak in the fucking video. Because like, my problem is that whenever I actually try to speak fast, it becomes like very light and I sound like an idiot. But if I speak slow, then I think that more people might click off. Like if you don't mind, then just tell me in the comments, it would help. I've been thinking about making like a drawing like a PNG for myself that I could use in the video, so that like I could make a bit more lazy editing style, since I would just plaster him everywhere. Like, we'll see. And yeah, thank you for watching the video. Subscribe, comment, like, whatever. Watch my old videos if you're new. Please don't watch the old ones at first, they're like shit. But yeah. See ya.